We'll talk about that later on. Barakallahu bikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. فاز من اعتصم بحبلكم أمن من لجأ إلى حصنكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. Yesterday, we began with the concept of ziyaratu warith. First and foremost, we have to realize that there's more than one narration of ziyaratu warith, and some of them have a bit add-ons and some of them don't. For the most part, ziyaratu warith, it is narrated from Imam al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Again, this is not a Shi'i salawat. A third one for good measure. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In ziyaratu warith, we said warith means the inheritor. And we explained yesterday the types of inheritance. For those who were not in attendance, inshallah, they can refer back to it. We don't need to cover yesterday. We have limited time. I'm going to try to restrict the lecture to 30 minutes, including the masa'ib that comes with the lecture. Therefore, I need you guys to focus with me, to pay attention. If you guys want to bring a paper and pen and record, nobody needs a paper and pen anymore on your phones. If you guys want to record any questions, by all means, don't hesitate. We will discuss them. We will cover them. All right? Ziyaratu warith claims that Imam al-Hussein is the inheritor, as we said, of whom? The Anbiya, the prophets. Nabiullah Adam, Nabiullah Nuh, Nabiullah Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, Nabiullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Amirul Mu'mineen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In fact, in some narrations, it continues. It says that he is not the warith of Amir al-Mu'mineen, but rather he is the warith of Imam al-Hasan and the warith of Sayyida Fatima. What does the Imam have to inherit from Sayyida Fatima, I wonder? I want you guys to put a pin in that. We're going to leave a lecture for Sayyida Fatima salamullahi alayha. Why would the Imam inherit from Sayyida Fatima? His father is Amir al-Mu'mineen. His father is Ali ibn Abi Talib, al-Anza' al-Batin, al-Alim al-Makin, Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why would he need to inherit from his mother then? His mother passed away before his father. But I want you guys to put a pin in that. We'll come back to that in another lecture. We'll start from the beginning. Yesterday we said we are going to begin with the concept of warith. Warith al-Anbiya. First and foremost, the first thing that we can understand from this verse or from this ziyarah is what? Is that this is not the spur of a moment thing. The revolution, the revolt of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was not a spur of the moment. Was not something that was not planned for. Was not something that came out of necessity. Rather, it was something that has been in the planning from Adam. From Adam, the plan has been there for Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Now you're going to say, hold on, does that mean that from Adam, Hussein was destined to fight against Yazid? And the answer to that is evil destined to fight with goodness? Is goodness destined to stand up against evil or not? What does Hussein represent? Hussein represents Adam, wa Nuh, and all of these prophets. However, from amongst the prophets, we have two types of prophets. In some narrations, they say that there are 124,000 prophets. This is something that we discussed with some of the brothers outside yesterday. That every nation had a prophet of their own type, of their own race, of their own kind. That's in some narrations. But from amongst those prophets, we have 5 prophets that are known as Ulil Azm. The prophets of resolve. What does resolve mean? Resolve means unwavering determination. Firm determination. If you want to be a doctor, you know that it's going to be difficult, don't you? You know that you're going to have to pay a lot of money, go to school for a long time, learn a lot of stuff. You have to have strong will and a determination to follow that strong will. That is one understanding of azm in Arabic, determination. However, not only determination of action, determination of patience. You guys with me? You guys understand what I'm saying here? On the one hand, you might have determination of action, of taking action. You take action. You are determined to become a doctor. But you lack in patience. You can't wait. How long does it take to become a doctor? 8 years? More or less? Therefore, halfway through, you drop out and you decide to become a security guard. There's no disrespect. We need security guards. It's an honorable job. But why? Because you don't have the patience. You have determination, but you don't have patience. Therefore, determination is made up of 2 parts. Of the action, the willingness, the determination to take on the action, and the patience that is required for said determination, for said action. These 5 prophets, who are Anbiya ulil Azm, they start with Sheikh al-Anbiya, the eldest of the Anbiya, Nabiyullah Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and Al-Khatim Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And the Prophet had more determination than all of them. We recited in the Quran, Allah says, and we have taken an oath from the prophets, and we have taken an oath from Nuh wa Ibrahim and Musa and Isa. But the Quran doesn't say, and from you, Ya Muhammad. The Quran says, in the beginning, he says, وَمِنْكَ وَمِن نُوحٍ. From you and from Nuh and Ibrahim and Musa and Isa. So Allah in the Quran speaks in chronological order, meaning in timely order. Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa. Nuh was before Ibrahim, Ibrahim before Musa, Musa before Isa. So logically, according to chronological order, Muhammad should be the last one, the final one, because he's the khatam, he's the seal. However, when we read the verse begins with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The verse says, and we have taken an oath from the prophets and from you. You meaning Muhammad, it's addressing the prophet. From you and from Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and we have taken from them a solemn oath, a very strong oath. These 5 Anbiya, the Prophet is labeled first. Why? Because while he might be the final one sent, he is the best one in creation. He is the first one in creation spiritual, not in physical creation. He is the determining factor of azm. If I want to understand azm, who do I look for? I look at Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. If I want to look at azm, who do I look for? I look at Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen. If I want to understand determination, I look at Hassan and Hussein bi abi wa ummi. I look at the 5 prophets of Ulil Azm. How about Adam? I heard someone, when I said, who are the prophets? Someone said the name Adam. What do we see in the Quran? The Quran says we did not find strong determination for Adam. Why? Because of what happened in paradise. The paradise that Adam was in before he came to earth was what? Now, we discussed this yesterday. Inshallah, we'll touch up on it quickly here. The paradise he was in before he came to earth was not an eternal paradise. It was a temporary paradise. Because Allah in the Quran says, I will be creating a person, a khalifa, a representative, an heir on earth. Therefore, Adam wasn't created for the paradise. He was created for the earth. He was created for earth. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Not fil Jannah, fil ard. And the Jannah that is described, the one that Adam was in, was what? Allah tells him, He says, Ya Adam, you will live in this paradise. You will not feel the heat of the sun. You will not go thirsty. You have a place that covers you from the atmosphere, from everything around you, and you will not go hungry. Only these four. However, in the other heaven, in the eternal paradise, Allah says, they have whatever they wish and we have more to give. And the other one is called Jannatul Khuld, a paradise of immortality, meaning that the individuals there will not cease being there. The one who enters that heaven will not leave that heaven. However, this heaven is not the same. Not only that, what if someone says, but Adam committed a sin? We say, hold on. Sin and taklif is where? It's for this world, for this physical world. Adam was not on earth, therefore, his taklif wasn't like our taklif. His taklif wasn't like our taklif. Nonetheless, we won't focus on this. This is just a side note to continue into our concept that Adam was not from the Anbiya of Ulil Azm. However, was he still a ma'soom? Absolutely. It would be illogical for Allah to create a creation and the first of that creation for it to be folly and to tell the rest of us, don't be folly. We're folly by nature, as they say, right? How could that be? If I'm folly by nature, how can I be punished? If you created me, and you created me in this folly nature, why are you punishing me? Because he who has created me has given me the choice of not being folly. He has given me the power to choose whether I fall and slip or whether I stand strong. Where can I apply that? That is applied through my determination. We see that the first prophet of determination is whom, as we said? Nuh. Now, before we come to Nuh alayhi salam, let's see, what did Imam Hussein inherit from Adam? Adam alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. ثانيا على حب الحسن والحسين. A third time. أحسنتم. صلى الله عليه. When we want to see what Adam or what the Imam inherited from Adam, first of all, let's try to see what is the concept that Adam brought. The Quran reads, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in chapter 16, verse 36, for we have assuredly sent amongst every people a messenger. And they said, these messengers announced, serve Allah and eschew evil. Serve Allah and refrain from evil. Therefore, the first message of faith, of religion, is what? Is servitude to the Almighty and to skew from evil. What does it mean to skew? Mean to refrain, to push away. That is the first message of religion. Serving Allah means goodness, righteousness, piety. and to skew from everything that is evil. When we come to Adam, what does the ziyarah say? Assalamu alayka ya waritha Adam safwatillah. What does safwa mean? Means God's chosen one. How was Adam chosen? Adam was chosen as the first being, human being, the first infallible, the first one, the one who would set the road for everyone that would come after him. We read, surely Allah has chosen Adam. In chapter 3, verse 33, Inna Allah astafa Adama wa Nuh. Sorry, the translation is reversed. Inna Allah astafa Adama wa Nuha wa ala Ibrahim wa ala Imran ala al-alamin. Ba'duhum min ba'd. Allah has chosen Adam and Nuh and the family of Ibrahim and the family of Imran over all of mankind. Why is that choice there? Because of their determination. Allah does not choose willy-nilly. Allah does not choose based on nothingness. Allah chooses you based on your capability and your ability to put in. When Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari asks the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he says to him, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa He says to him, Ya Rasulullah, why are you the final prophet? From everybody, from all of creation, why is it that you're the khatam? In the narration it says that the Prophet answers him, the gist of the narration. He says, when Allah took the oath from creation, I was the first one that answered. When Allah created creation, and He says, do not worship the devil and worship me, I was the first one that answered. Alastu bi rabbikum, the Quran says, am I not your Lord? Qalu bala. The first one who says bala is whom? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. As Adam was created and chosen to be the first human, the first infallible, the first one to deliver the message and to ensure that the message continues, first, who is Adam going to deliver the message to? His kin, his daughter, his children. Someone needed to continue and to ensure the continuation of that message. That's where the prophets come in. However, after the final prophet, how do we ensure the continuation of this message? There's no more prophecy. The prophecy ended with the Khatam sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Then how do we continue? How do we ensure that became the role of whom? The Ahlul Bayt. Therefore, who inherited that role? The one who ensured the survival of that message. Another thing, Adam had he had a lot of sons. From his sons, 9 of them were chosen as prophets. To do what? To ensure the continuation of the message. The 9th of whom is Nuh, who was the wander of the early ones. Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam also had 9 sons, whose job was what? Ensuring the continuation of this message. The 9th one is Al-Mahdi, ajjalallah ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. Who was what? Who was the wander of our time, of the final time, of the end times. Now we come to Nabiullah Nuh, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. I want to focus on Anbiya ulil Azm. Because if we focus on each single Nabi and we go through every individual Nabi, we'll be here for more than a month, I guarantee it. But I want to focus on these 5 Anbiya. And I want to see how can we extrapolate the worth, the inheritance from these Anbiya. First of all, Nuh alayhi salam is, as we said, he's known as the the first prophet of Ulil Azm, for his determinations and his patience upon that determination. What patience did he show? Nuh lived within his community for 950 years. 1,000 years except for 50, meaning what? Meaning 950 years. For 950 years he called upon his people, and his people mocked him. For 950 years he called upon his people, up until he says, I know you're tired of me. We'll get to that. The Quran speaks about this. Can you imagine the patience? We don't have patience for our children when they nag, when they question. When we teach them something more than 2-3 times, we get upset with them. Nuh alayhi salam was patient for 950 years. Nuh alayhi salam, not only was he patient with them, he would only make dua upon certain individuals who harmed him. And in some narrations it says, Allah tells him, be patient. Be patient. Allah did not create us to torment us. But sometimes we bring tormentation onto ourselves. We bring onto ourselves. Nuh was asked to build an ark. He was told to build an ark. Who knows where that ark was told to be built? Where was that ark built? How many people here, let me see a raise of hands, have been to Masjid Kufa? MashaAllah, almost, MashaAllah, everyone. When you guys went to Masjid Kufa, have you guys seen that big fountain right in the middle of the masjid? What was there? Why is that fountain there specifically? It's not for show. First of all, what is the importance of Masjid al-Kufa? Who knows? Masjid al-Kufa was the home of Adam, and the home of Idris, and the home of Nuh alayhi salam. When Nuh was charged to build the masjid, to build the ark, where was it built? Right where that fountain sits today. That's according to our narrations, to some narrations. That is where the ark was built. And that is where, in that area where the Quran says, وَفَارَ التَّنُّورِ. You guys call it tandoor as well, right? But you guys say it with a D. Where they make bread. The sign was what? Was that this oven, this brick or this mud oven, would overflow with water. Then he was charged to do what? To bring on board from every species too, and his family and the companions that believed in him, except for those who were predestined to not be on there. Those who chose not to be on there. When we say predestined, we don't mean that they were forced. We don't believe in that concept. But we say it's through their own choice that their destiny turned out that way. This ark is called what? The Ark of Salvation. Did this go on deaf ears? No, the Prophet says, remembers this ark. He says, مَثَلُ أَهْلِ بَيْتِ فِيكُمْ. The example of my family within you is the example of the ark of Nuh. What was the purpose of the ark of Nuh? مَنْ رَكِبَهَا. He who boards it, naja, is saved. What about he who doesn't? What happens to those who didn't board the ark? Let me hear your voices. Talk back. They drowned. What about the Ahlul Bayt? He who follows them is saved. And he who doesn't follow them drowns. Now I know what some of you are going to say, and what some others might say, in fact. But there are Sahaba. There are people that are known to be righteous. There are those who deliberately went against Ahlul Bayt. There are those who deliberately upset Fatima alayha salam. There are those who went to war against Amir al-Mu'mineen. There are those who poisoned Imam al-Hasan. There are those who killed Imam al-Hussein. And we know in our history that some of them are Sahaba, some of them are wives, some of them are Tabi'een, the generation that came after, some of them are Khalifa, and we know in our history that they claim that a Khalifa is allowed to do whatever he wants. What do we say to that? We say, what does Nuh say? Let's look at Nuh. Nuh boarded the ark. In fact, why don't we read the Quran? Instead of me saying, let's read the Quran. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ نُوحٍ, and recite upon them the news of Nuh, when he said to his people, O people, if my stay with you and my reminding of you of the ayat of Allah is hard upon you, then I put my trust in Allah. Then I put my trust in Allah. Did Imam Hussein put his trust in Allah? Alayhi tawakkalt. What did he say to his family when they entered Karbala? He said to them, put your rihal, put down your luggage. This is where we stay. We're not going to go any further than this. However, let's finish the first point. Nuh rode upon the ark, and the water rose. The Quran says in chapter 23, verse 27, take on board of each kind two, meaning male and female, and your family. Then in chapter 11, verse 42, it says, and so it sailed with them amidst the waves, waves like mountains, and Nuh called on to whom? His son. Ya bunay, oh my son. His son is separated by choice. He left. Who had separated himself apart from his father. Nuh calls upon his son. For the fathers here, they know that feeling. When your son does something wrong and you want to bring him to you, you want to correct that action. He says, oh my son, embark upon the ark with us. Come aboard with us and do not be with the disbelievers. Ya bunay yarkab ma'ana. Looking in such a beautiful language. He doesn't tell him, come here right now. No, he says, Ya bunay. Bunay is a nickname. It's sort of like when you're trying to spoil a child. You say to him, bunay. He says, Ya bunay yarkab ma'ana. Come aboard with us. Come ride with us. I don't want you to be from amongst the disbelievers. The son replied, Sa'awi ila jabal. I will go to a mountain, to a summit, which will save me from the water. Nuh says to him what? He says, there is no protection today from Allah's decree except that for which Allah has deemed mercy upon. Meaning this ark. And the water came in between them. Remember, brothers and sisters, what did we say? We said in verse 27, chapter 23, Allah promises Nuh salvation. He tells him what? Take on board from each kind two, and your family. What about the son? Is the son family or not? What does Nuh say? In chapter 11, verse 45, he says, and Noah called unto his Lord and says, O my Lord, Ilahi, verily my son is of my family. He is from my ahl. He is from my family, my Lord. وَإِنَّ وَعْدَكَ الْحَقِّ, and your promise is true. You promised me my family shall be saved. I know my wife went. I know my wife is corrupt. But my son, he's my family. And Noah called upon his Lord and said, O my Lord, verily my son is of my family, and certainly your promise is true, and you are the most just of judges. Now look at how Allah answers Nuh. Brothers and sisters, for us, we don't get tested the way prophets get tested. Let's keep that in mind. We don't get judged the way the prophets get judged. When a prophet speaks out of turn, we see how strong Allah treats them. What does Allah say to him? Allah said, O Nuh, He is not of your family. He is not of your family. He is an unrighteous action, an unrighteous act. إِنَّهُ عَمَلٌ غَيْرُ صَالِحٍ. He became an unrighteous act. Meaning what? That his decision severed that blood tie that you have to him. You think he's your son, but his action severed that blood tie. Then Allah says to him, so ask me not that which you have no knowledge of. I admonish you, lest you be one of the ignorant. He says, don't ask how to turn. Don't ask how to place. Know your place, Nuh. I fear that you might become an ignorant individual if you continue doing this. What does Nuh say? Nuh says, oh my Lord, I seek refuge within you from asking you that which I have no knowledge of. And unless you forgive me and have mercy upon me, I would indeed be one of the losers. However, when it came to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Nuh gave up a wife, not by choice, and a son. Again, not by choice. But what did Imam al-Hussein give alayhi salam? And he gave them by choice. Imam al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi gave his companions, gave his sons, gave his grandsons. Imam Hussein gave his nephews, gave his cousins, gave his brothers. And every time one of them would fall, what would he say? فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. From them are those who have fulfilled their obligations, and those who are still waiting, and they have not altered in the least. The companions of Imam al-Hussein alayhimus salam did not alter in the least. The Ahlul Bayt did not alter in the least. In fact, we see that Nuh alayhi salam, he says to his family, or he says to his companions in the Quran, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When he said to his people, O my people, if my stay with you and my reminding of you and of the ayat of Allah is hard upon you, then I put my trust in Allah. So devise your plot, and you and your partners devise your plots, and let your plots be in no doubt for you. Have no doubts in your plots. Then pass your sentence on to me and give me no respite. What does Imam Hussein say? Imam Hussein says, O people, listen to what I have to say. And do not make haste. Don't make your judgment in haste, so that I might fulfill my responsibility towards counseling you, which rests upon me, and that I might submit my plea regarding my arrival towards you. Then if you accept my plea and believe my words while giving me justice, while being just unto me, then you shall be fortunate, and there will be no excuse for you, or there will be no excuse for you to fight me. You would not need to fight me. And if you do not accept my words, La ilaha illallah. They say Al-Hussein, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, when he gave this lecture, he was wearing the imama of the Rasul. He was wearing the jubba of the Rasul. He was riding the horse of Rasul. After all of this, he says to them, and if you do not accept my plea and my excuse, and you do not treat me justly, then muster therefore your plots, and gather your accomplices. Then let not your plots be dubious. Then excuse me, then excuse unto me, and give me no respite. For verily my protector is Allah. My protector is Allah who has sent down the book, and He is the one that grants victory. The question that I always ask, or that I think of, is what kind of victory did Imam Hussein seek? Imam Hussein knew he was going to get killed, didn't he? He said to his companions in Medina, he says, I see my limbs being torn apart by beasts between Nawawis and Karbala. He who comes with me shall see victory, and he who doesn't come with me shall not see victory. Sorry, he who does not come with me shall not reach Shahada, and he who comes with me shall reach victory. Meaning what? Meaning that his Shahada is victory. Therefore, when he presented his companions, he used to say, this is what we were designed for. This is what we have inherited. What have we inherited? Ensuring that the message continues. How does this message continue? It can only continue if the people are awakened to the tragedy of the Ahlul Bayt, to the truth of Islam, and the truth of those who claim to be Muslim. Let's not make a mistake. During the time of Imam al-Hasan, people were in doubt. People didn't know the truth behind Muawiyah and Yazid. People were deceived. Hence, Imam al-Hasan was forced to swear an oath with Muawiyah. By the time of Imam Hussein and the time of Yazid, people knew who Bani Umayyah were. People knew who Yazid was. Therefore, when he rose up and he was killed, people woke up. They said, wait a minute. They're calling them Khawarij? How could the founders of this religion be Khawarij? Who founded the religion? Muhammad and his family, alayhim salatu wassalam. How could they be Khawarij? But we see an individual in Karbala. We can sum up Karbala in two ways. The first way we can sum up Karbala is during the battle of Karbala. And the second way we can sum up Karbala is what happened after the battle. The men's role, Imam Hussein and the men, their role was during the battle. However, after the battle, we needed a media center. We needed someone to spread that knowledge, to spread the truth of what happened. That's where the role of Sayyida Zainab came into play. They say that Sayyida Zainab, every time something would happen, she would face it like a mountain. In the narrations, they say that in the night when she went to see the body of Imam al-Hussein, she put her hands under the body and she says, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. Oh our Lord, accept from us this qurban, this sacrifice. Just like her brother, Imam Hussein, whenever someone would die, he would say, Allahumma in kana hadha yurdik fakhudh ilayka hatta tarda. Oh my Lord, if this pleases you, then take from us, take as much as you are, as would please you. Even the infant, he would say, take from us. What else do you want, Ya Allah? You want my men? I'll give you my men. You want me? I'll give you myself. You want my infant? I'll give you my infant. فَخُذْ حَتَّى تَرْضَى. Until you accept. Until you accept. Until he, alayhi salam, fell onto the ground. When he fell onto the ground, what did he say? They say he looked at the heavens. And then he starts speaking to his Lord. The poet says that he created he gathered sand so that he's not laying on the ground. He's a warrior nonetheless. He is the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He's not going to be laying on the ground. So he created a little wisada, a little mount so that he can lean back upon it. Then he looked up at the heavens and he says, Ilahi, oh my Lord, I have left this world for your pleasure. And I have orphaned my kids so that you might be pleased. Oh my Lord, if you were to shred me, if I was to be shredded in your love or from your love, I would not lean. I would not skew. I would not turn from your love. However, did he question Allah? Did he say, Ya Ilahi, why have you forsaken me? Did he say, oh my God, this is my son? Did he say, oh my God, this is my nephew? That's my wife? No. He would say, فَخُذْ, take, as long as you are pleased. Therefore, when we say Imam al-Hussein is warithu Nuh, he is not only the warith of the ideology, of the message of Nuh, of the continuation of Nuh, of the determination of Nuh, of the patience of Nuh. No, but he has exceeded Nuh. He has exceeded Nuh because Nuh questioned his Lord. He says, Ya Ilahi, that's my son. Imam Hussein says, Ilahi khudh ilayk, take towards you. Nuh says, oh Allah, my son is of my family. Imam Hussein throws himself onto the body of his son. And he says, oh my son, give my salam to my grandfather Muhammad. Oh my son, he will give you a drink of water. You shall never go thirsty after. He said, the narrations say that when Ali al-Akbar fell, he threw himself onto Ali al-Akbar. And he would say, Bunay Ali ala dunya ba'daka al-afa. Oh my son, Ali, after this life, after you, this life is worthless. Then he stood up and he says, فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ. Amongst them are those who have fulfilled their obligation and those who are still waiting, himself. I ask Allah بحق الحسين الوجيه وجده وأبيه وأمه وأخيه that he may hasten the reappearance of our Imam al-Asri wal-Zaman وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات وأرواح من مات على الهدى والإيمان رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Ya Allah.
Karwa, 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 karwa. Yasrab se sue Karbala, ek karwa rukhsat hua, sar pe alam saya figan. काजी की आती है सदा पहला सफ़र ज़ैनब का है सुनसानी कर दो रास्ता कारवा कारवा अब्बास मेरे कारवा कारवा क्या शान है क्या दबदबा क्या लोग है कुर्रानुमा सल्ले अला आयत का है काफिला मशको वलम इनका निशा अब्बास मेरे कारवा अब्बास मेरे कारवा अल्लाह के प्यारे है ये आले नबी सारे है ये कुरान के पारे है ये कौनैन के तौरे है ये ज़ेरे कदम है आसमां अब्बास मेरे कारवा अब्बास मेरे कारवा कारवा कोई शबी है मुस्तफ़ा कोई हसन का दिलरुबा है कोई अक्से सैयदा शब्बीर का ये काफिला था में अलम जो है जवा अब्बास मेरे कारवा कारवा अब्बास मेरे कारवा या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात
अस्सलाम अलैका या रसूलुल्लाह अस्सलाम अलैका या अली मुर्तज़ा अस्सलाम अलैका या फ़ातिमत ज़हरा अस्सलाम अलैका हसन मुजतबा अस्सलाम अलैका या अबा अब्दिल्लाह अल-अरवाइल्लती हल्लत बिफ़िनाइक अलैका मिन्नी सलाम अब्दन मा बक़ीत व बक़ी लैल वन्नहार वला जालहुल आखिर अहद मिन्नी लिज़ियारतिकुम अस्सलाम अलल हुसैन व अला आलि इब्निल हुसैन व अला औलादिल हुसैन व अला अस्हाबिल हुसैन खुसूसन सैयदी मौलाय अबुल फ़ज़ल अब्बास अब्बास इब्न अमीर अल-मोमिनीन व क़ासिम इब्न अल-हसन व मुस्लिम इब्न अक़ील व हानी इब्न उरवा व हबीब इब्न मज़ाहिर अस्सलाम अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू अस्सलाम अलैका या मौला व इब्न मौला अस्सलाम अलैका या गरीब अल-गुरबा अस्सलाम अलैका या शम्स अस-समूस या अनीस अन-नफूस या अली इब्न मूसा रिज़ा व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू अस्सलाम अलैका या मौलाना साहिबुल अस्र व ज़मान आलमान 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 अस्सलाम अलैका या खलीफतुर रहमान अस्सलाम अलैका या शरीकल कुरान अस्सलाम अलैका या इमाम अल इंस वल जान अज्जलल्लाहु ताला फरजक वसहलल्लाहु ताला मखरजक वजालना मिन आवानिक व अंसारिक व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि नारे हैदरी या औलिया बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम